What are you doing down here, you pack of fucking dogs? Get up here. So this is what I've got so far. I have 11 songs, all in various stages of production, all written or recorded. The story of this project, the way it came about, was last year, 2025, February. We go out to Columbus, Ohio to see Asheron, Mordant Red, Church, a bunch of other cool bands that were on the bill. And it was like a blizzard. Never driven in a blizzard before. 8 fucking hours, just white. Anyway, when going through Pennsylvania, it's just roads through mountains, up and down, side to side, but it's just completely like just vast and very little, amount of people. You go past little towns and things like that, and they're kind of just buried away in hills and stuff. And it got me to thinking that I would love to write an album based, or songs based on, this awesome winter blizzard, which, I was experiencing for the first time. So coming home, we passed a place called Willow Tip Hills, or Willow Tip. And I thought it's just a cool name. It was like just this open valley, in the background just mountains, just snow-covered mountains. So the idea was to write stories about events that happened in these mountains. These are all fictitious. Some of them based on stories of yore, but to my knowledge, all fictitious stories. Anyway, what I kind of envisioned was these mountains are witnessed dozens, hundreds, thousands of tragedies. And in some weird way, it must impact the land around it, because these things can never express like the sorrows and the pain, and just the sadness of just all the events that could potentially happen within these mountains. People dying of starvation, cold, murder, taking their own lives. And I thought these things just don't happen, like circumstances obviously, but some people not meaning to die just go out and meet their end. And I kind of likened it to serpents that crawl through the world. And if you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, you meet one of these serpents, that is how you die. So each of the songs are kind of based around dying alone, and just some really depressing type of ends. I've put all the songs into one folder, and I'm gonna have you look at it. As you can see, I've got these songs separated for some reason, and the song titles are basically stopgaps, like ideas that if, I have an idea for a song, I kind of write the first thing that pops into my head, and, I base the lyrics around it. So a lot of these titles, they don't necessarily stay. Some of them I like, and these are the rest. So I write songs pretty fast, and sometimes good stuff comes out, sometimes awful, really horrible stuff comes out. I just like to capture all of it, because normally I'll find like there's an idea in there that I can run with and expand upon. And this is kind of what these songs are. I don't believe that I'll have all of them be heard. Some of these may not make it. All of them may make it, depending on when I really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, how they're going to sound at the end, right? Obviously. The first problem that I've had is the drum sound, and not to bore anyone, but the drum sound I've used on the majority of my music, I find now it's too bassy, if that makes sense. So when you pick up the speed, things are just getting muddied, all right? So with all these songs, I've had to go back in and re-record all the drums for them. So I've managed to pull a sound out of my kit, which I really like. It's I kind of based it on the the 90s Emperor drum sound. I'm a big fan of that. Obviously, to my ears, it's the closest that I can get on a kit that's not fucking worth $3,000, So with a little bit of knob twitching and tingling, I've managed to get a sound that I'm happy with. It's a little bit more clicky, though I haven't taken away the body, because I really enjoy some of the sounds that instruments make when you fucking hit them wrong and shit like that. And even on a electronic kit, this thing is designed to notice, softer hits, missed hits, timing obviously, and rim shots. If you fuck it up and hit the rim, you get to hear that. So, it does have some nuance. So my first real order is to change the drums in every single song. And even though I might have fucking written it and played it, going back to it now, some of them I piecemealed it together so I could get the bass for this song, so I could put vocals down. I knew how the vocals were going to sit. And now that I've gone back in and attempted to, put this drum sound in, I'm now finding that some different rhythms work better, slower paces. Some of it's faster paces. And now I've hit that point where, well, if I'm changing that and I'm changing tempos, then I've got to change the bass, because the bass was set to play a certain speed, and now the drums have slowed down, so I've got to re-record the bass. The big problem is that when I did these songs, I was tuned to D. My bass is tuned to C, and it was set up. It's a 5-string bass set up by fucking some Guitar Center, but the issue is now is that it's not something you can just go and tune down again, so I got to go back and get it done. But I've been dicking around with playing putting bass into it in a different tuning, and as disastrous as I thought that was going to be, it's actually sounding pretty cool. The bass sounds a little bit more lively. Some of the notes just aren't perfect, which I love. They give another set of frequencies which kind of add to the chaos. I mean, considering the fact that I want it to be tight, yes, I want it to have clarity and you can hear what I'm doing, I also like a little bit of that mess. I mean, my favorite albums are the ones that sound like they're just about to fucking take a nosedive off the cliff. Judas Iscariot, I love those first few albums where at any second that thing could crash and burn. That's why the raw black metal stuff to me is exciting. When you put in a machine like a drum machine, that's when it becomes less exciting, because there's not in any fear of fucking crashing and burning. So I've attempted to get some of the bass parts and fix them all up. And then when you fix up one bass line, you obviously got to fix up the rest, because I've got different bass sound now. So I'm basically re-recording half of what I've got, keeping the original recordings because just for the fucking love of the game, but new bass, new drums. Some of the songs even have vocal performances that I must have done like 6 o'clock in the morning. some of the vocals have to be redone. It was only one of the only times where I didn't put everything into my phone. So what I started last year was I started writing everything down. People I meet, how I met them, lyrics, drawings of things that I really thought were kind of interesting. Just anything that I didn't want to forget. Instead of doing it in my phone, which I've got a book. This is mine, all right? So this thing is pretty much just like everything that's not a cock I've kind of done, whether it be repressings, just merchandise, how much I got, how much I spent. Keep track of everything because it's fucking good practice. And also too, you know, no one wants to lose money on shit that you do. So the one thing I suggest, if you haven't done it yet, or you fucking black metal, single black metal, no, it didn't sound right, yeah. One man black metal, get something and write it down, because most of us are fucking, you know, idiots and we forget. This, once you commit it to paper, you never forget it, or you do, but this thing doesn't. So hopefully at the end of this, I wouldn't say this week, because I did run through one of the songs and it took me 48 hours to get a drum track that I was happy with. So I would say that this is probably going to take a good month of just re-recording. You know, I've even added some extra guitar parts, which is kind of fun. You know, there's some little synth pieces to make it a little bit more cinematic, because unlike everything that's come before it, it's been a lot of just, you know, wham bam, thank you ma'am, burn a church down and move on to the next CD. I really want this one to be like that experience that I had driving through those mountains, you know, so vast. Didn't ever look like you were getting any closer to them, but just so gorgeous in their size, you know. And I want this to be that. I want this to be cinematic. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be tragic. I want it to be ugly. I want it to be evil. I want it to be cold. I really want this to express something that isn't just, here's a bunch of songs of evil titles and Satan, Satan, Satan. Is to have definite impact. Fucking stripping these songs down to their tidy-whities, and I might spend 2 weeks on a song and it may not get on, but, you know, getting your ear trained up and making mistakes and developing new sounds. And again, the equipment that I have is 13 years old and I'm doing my best with what I got. So at the moment, I'm pretty much at the start. And we have to record 11 drum tracks and figure out what the fuck I did to make them sound half decent. It's gonna be pretty fucking cool at the end. It's gonna be one of the better, I'll say the best. I'll say this is gonna be the best Warhammer CD, cassette, hopefully vinyl, that I will do until the next one. But this is the first time that I've felt that these songs all relate to the topic, and the lyrical content is on point. There's no worshipping the devil on this. This is all meeting your end unexpectedly, the coldest place on earth.